Firefighting in Canada this week is brought to you by VFIS of Canada, a division of CVIS Incorporated, Canada's largest insurer of firefighters. In this edition, Nova Scotia adds 13 types of cancer to workplace insurance coverage. Then, Canadian fire departments have been donating equipment to Ukrainian firefighters. And in the latest edition of Firefighting in Canada, the podcast, Fire Chief Tom DeSorcy is joined by OIFC President Rob Grimwood to discuss mandatory minimum certification in Ontario. Nova Scotia is adding 13 types of cancer to its workplace injury insurance for firefighters, increasing the presumptive coverage to 19. The cancers added will include esophageal, lung, testicular, uterine, breast, multiple myeloma, prostate, skin, ovarian, cervical, penile, thyroid, and pancreatic. There is current coverage for bladder, brain, colorectal, and kidney cancer, as well as leukemia and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Firefighters diagnosed with cancer since July 1, 2021 will be able to access the benefits. The additional coverage also includes covering heart attacks that happen within 24 hours of emergency calls. These changes will be in amendments to regulations under the Workers' Compensation Act. Canadian fire departments are joining forces to collect donations to aid Ukrainian firefighters. In PEI, the Canadian Bomberos, spearheaded by firefighter Corey McGosland, have been collecting donations for fire gear and equipment to send to Ukraine to help firefighter crews. McGosland posted to the Canadian Bomberos Facebook page on March 27th a comprehensive list of inventory and equipment being sent over to aid the Ukrainian Fire Service, including fire helmets, oxygen tanks, and a Stokes basket from the Alberton Department. Lyle Donovan, the Emergency Management Coordinator in Victoria County, Nova Scotia, has been working with healthcare centers and fire departments to collect donated items such as protective clothing, boots, helmets, backboards, and wheelchairs, reports Saltwire. In Alberta, Lethbridge Fire Service is donating some surplus items to support relief efforts, including medical kits and retired safety equipment. Red Deer Emergency Services have donated more than 50 sets of gear, and 2 firefighters with the Edmonton Fire Rescue Service returned from a 5-day trip to Ukraine, where they donated over 14 tons of rescue equipment. In the latest episode of Firefighting in Canada, the podcast, host Fire Chief Tom DeSorcy is joined by OIFC President and Deputy Chief from Mississauga Fire and Emergency Services, Rob Grimwood. The two talk about the Ontario government's recently released draft legislation for mandatory minimum certification standards. Grimwood speaks on how Ontario's fire chiefs are reacting to the regulation and what it means for their department.
Most of our chiefs are embracing it without a doubt. And at the end of the day, 4 years from now, what you get is consistency and standardization. You know that your firefighters have met the minimum standard, your apparatus operators, your officers, they have met the rigorous NFPA standard, and you have a better, safer fire department.
To hear the full episode, visit www.firefightingincanada.com under the podcast tab. Thanks again to VFIS of Canada, a division of CVIS Incorporated, Canada's largest insurer of firefighters. Stay tuned for our next episode on Friday, April 15th.